Hello Ghost Hunters and welcome to Phasmophobia. Today I am going to be explaining the equipment store, or as most people know it as, the shop. I've been watching a couple of people play Phasmophobia and don't understand the shop, and I'm not going to say I'm an expert myself. I was learning a couple of things today. And I was watching a live stream by a YouTuber named Insym. He'll be linked down in the description down below. And even he doesn't know the game, and he has thousands of hours in it. So if someone with 1,000 hours doesn't understand it, how will newer players understand it? Well, that's what I'm going to be explaining. Down below in the timeline will be chapters. In the first chapter, I'm going to explain the shop's loadouts. I'm then going to explain the shop/storage, and then I'm going to give some ideas of how to improve it myself and what I think can be done. So we'll explain it from all these two numbers, what all of the pluses, minuses, the auto add that I turned off, buy, sell, add, and remove does. Then obviously I'll explain the storage, what this list is, what the bin icon is, same with the buttons, same with the plus and minuses, and then I'll give my thoughts on how it could be improved. So once again, chapters will be down below if you want to skip to a part. If you ever have questions, leave a comment and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can, but make sure to watch through the video to see if I explain it later on. My explaining is jumbled. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So, when you're accessing the store, you will come up to this, and you'll be on this. Most likely, if not one. All will select everything. If you add it, it will get added to the truck if you have that item. If you don't, it will not be added, so it won't be there. The symbols on the icon, so we'll use the video camera for example. You have the icon of what it looks like. You have this grey number. That is how many of the item you own. So right now I have 5 video cameras in storage. If I was to add 5 video cameras, now I have 0 in storage. This is because I have none backed up. This yellow number, that only appears yellow when it's 1 or higher out of however many can be owned, will appear. Obviously you have the main equipment. This is the video camera, dots projector, EMF, weak flashlight, or just called flashlight, ghostwriting book, spirit box, UV light, and a photo camera. These items are your starting gear and will always have 1 out of 2, 4, 6, however many, because there's always going to be 1 in the truck no matter what. These cannot be removed by the player. So this orange number is how many is in the truck. So you can have up to 6 video cameras, so that's 1 out of 6 because you start off with 1, and that's how many you can put in the truck. So if I add all, it's now 6 out of 6, so when I load into the game, there will be 6 video cameras. That explained for now. Over here is the list, owned and loadout. This isn't correct. Owned is correct. That's how many I owned. If I add, it goes all down to 0 because I have none backed up. But if I remove, I now have stuff in storage. The shop/storage page is basically the same. It has that. We'll get onto that later on. So the loadout part is actually how many of that item you have selected. So because I'm on all, everything is selected. So if I was to add it all of these numbers get added to how the loadout is done. But if I was to go over to loadout 2, it's all empty. So we'll now get onto the numbers. These are your loadouts. These are your customly made. All selects everything. 1 and 2, you get to select what you want. So if I want sound sensors, 4 of them, I can click the plus, and now I have 4 sound sensors added. So if I was to add them, only sound sensors would be added. As you can see here, sound sensor, everything else is grayed out. That means I haven't selected any of them. These are the starting items. You will always have 1 out of however many, as said before. So if I was to remove all of these, this grays out. I can't select any of these. So if I was to click 1, I could buy an extra 1, because you can buy a certain amount of them. Right now I have none in storage, so it will ask me to buy them. But if I was to remove, it removed only 1 because I've only selected 1. So if I was to add that, I have 0 in storage, but I have 1 selected, so I won't be able to add any. But if I keep clicking plus, it's now gone up to 4, so if I remove it, all 4 get removed. If I go back down to 1 and add, now only 1 has been added. Plus means select 1, or select 2, 3, 4, however many it goes up to. And minus means deselect 1, 2, 3, however many times you click it, and however many is left. So in this case, if I remove this, I've got 1 in storage. I can't remove this because I have 0 selected. So I select 1 and then I can remove it, or I can add in a load. If you want to add in a load, you can just click plus a lot of times. Now I have 4 selected. I add 4. 4 is now in the truck. In order to remove, you have to have it selected. Plus means select, minus means unselect. I'm going to repeat myself a lot because it's just the way the game works. You cannot remove stuff if you do not have said item selected. If you have item selected, you can remove, you can add it. You can also buy and sell. You can only sell if it's in storage. So if I unselect, I can now sell 4 sound sensors. But because they're loaded into the truck, I cannot sell them. They have to be in your storage for you to do that. That's why most people will have all of it selected and add everything, and then sometimes they will buy a duplicate set. So they go in, they die because unfortunate events happen, like they get cornered by a Dio, or they didn't expect a Rev to bolt around the corner at them at top speeds and hunt them down. But then they die, they come back, they've lost that gear, but it automatically can do auto add. So it will add the second set they have so they can jump straight back in and not have to buy. That's why you have an auto add. Auto add, if I remove and everything that is selected has been removed. I haven't had these 2 selected because I don't take them in because I find them pointless. So they've obviously not been done. If I add now, auto add will add this duplicate set again. So if I buy, I die, it will add all of these duplicate items that are now in storage into my game. Now do note that when you are selling objects, you might not get the 100% of the item back. Some items will be 100% return rate. Some are 50%, less, more. Depends on the item. I'm not going to go through that. It's not important. I'm not trying to complain about prices, and it's going to be changed in a future update. Hopefully the shop has improved then as well. But I'm going to explain it until then because that's going to be mid-July, end of June time. So loadout is like that. Auto add will automatically add everything that you already have selected back in. So all of the stuff that's now in the truck will be added to the truck again. So that is the shop, or the loadouts part of the shop. plus select, minus unselect. You can only remove stuff if it's selected. You can only add stuff if it's selected. If something isn't selected, you cannot remove it even if you have it in the truck. You cannot add it because there's nothing for it to select. Loadouts here means selected. So all selects everything. One is your selected, so flashlight, head mounted camera, and sound sensors on selected because I don't use them, I don't bother adding them, I have better stuff, or they're just not useful in the current game. Shop and storage is a different beast, so we're now getting onto shop and storage. For the people who have skipped straight to the shop and storage, I'm going to explain stuff that I've explained it in loadouts. This is your owned. This is how much you have in storage. This is the storage button. I have 5 in storage, and I currently have 6 in the truck ready to go onto my next contract. If it's grayed out, that means I'm taking nothing onto the contract. Now, here is the list. Quantity is how many you have selected. So if I click 1 UV, I now have 1 UV. It's going to cost me 35. I can sell whatever I have in storage. As you can see here, it's not the same. If I was to select something like the... it was something that equaled the same. I might have just been miscounted though. I swear there was one. Well, I'll stop getting sidetracked anyway. So, if I select 1 tripod, I want 2 thermos, I want 4 lighters, I want 12 head-mounted cameras. This will let me buy it, so I can buy it, and I can keep buying as many as I can as long as I have money to buy. I can sell as long as it's in the storage to sell. I can add it straight to the truck from this screen. So if I was to go to here, remove everything, and add this, you can see that all of this has been added. As long as I have it to add, it will add. Now, this delete button isn't going to delete. The only way you can get rid of stuff is by selling it. If you want to know what the delete button is, basically everything you have selected gets unselected. It clears the list and starts again. When selecting stuff, it also tells you the price. So you have the quantity, how many you have selected, name of the item, price, how much it's going to cost to buy all of that. The buy button here is your grand total. Sell is how much you will get for selling all of the selected items. The bin button means clear current list. So that will reset the list. You can select as many as you want. The plus means select 1 and keep. So currently selected 1. Plus means now select another item. So now we have selected 2, 3, 4, etc, etc. This means select plus 1, unselect plus 1. So it's unselecting them. So it's select minus 1. If you want to be really terminological, blah blah blah, whatever, I don't care. It's getting that explained. So that is how the shop function works. Once again, you can add, you can remove. If you want to understand how that works, it's more in depth in the first one where I explain how this listing works, and this just unselects everything. I repeat myself, it's just to dig it into people's heads on how it works. If you hate it, then just dislike the video and move on with your day. I'm just trying to be helpful. Don't kill the messenger. Now, in order to explain the equipment shop and how they could make this better, there's a number of ways, and I want a load of people to explain how this could be better. So for the shop and storage, right now, this is quite good. I like this. I think they need to just explain these plus and minuses better. What they need to do is tooltips. Explain. When people have all of this selected, and then they see the delete button, I saw, once again, Insym I'm going to use as an example because he's the most recent case that I've seen. But my friend has also asked the same question. What does the bin mean? Does that mean it gets rid of it? Well, I tested today because I don't mind losing my money. The delete button, or what people will assume is the delete button, is it won't remove your items. It will deselect what you have added in this list. So if you want to reset this list because it's a mess, because you've added 9 lighters, who wants 9 lighters, and you don't want a strong flashlight, you want to go weak flashlight, then just remove the list, reset it, and then you can start adding all of your beautiful basic flashlights, and then you can buy them and carry on with your day. What they need to do is tooltip, or just explain it. So if I hover over this, this is how many you own, or how many is in the truck. So this is how many you have spare, because if I was to add a book and remove one from the truck, it now goes into storage. It's basically just trying to explain how stuff works to people and tooltip it. So this removes everything in your shopping list. This is your shopping list. I want to remove it all. It's now a clean slate. That means remove it all. Buy. You don't really need a tooltip. People can understand it, but this will buy everything in the shop list, for example. This will sell everything that you have selected. Add will add it to the truck. Maybe grey it out if it's already... So thermo is already at max. If I just keep adding, it's not going to do anything. People might not know that. Remove removes it from the truck. Couple of tool tips that explain this. Hover over this means this is how many you have in storage. Hover over this, how many is in the truck. You can do this for this as well. Spirit Box lets you hear the voices of the ghosts through this device. Maybe give it its real life purpose as well explained. Like it travels through radio frequencies to get bits of songs to explain and all of that. Just simple stuff is tooltips can help a lot. The plus means it will select 1 or it will select 0 depending on how it is. I can't select because obviously this loadout. I will explain with this one. So this means it will select it. This is unselect, and they need to change loadout to selected because loadout doesn't make sense right now. What? 4 lighters in the loadout? Sorry, is that because I have 4 in the truck? But then why does this say it has 4 in the truck, but it doesn't say it here? Because this list, equipment list, is what is in the truck and how many you can have a max of. So I can have a max of 6 video cameras and I have 6 in the truck. It's 6 in how many is in the truck and how many you can have. This bit here does not make sense. This really explains this, but reversed. Owned makes sense. That's how many you own. We can see here, or sorry, video camera 5, here 5. That makes sense. Loadout does not make sense. They need to change that to how many you have selected. You can't unselect everything here. So if say this was a loadout list, I don't want all of this because I want to clean out this. I have to click minus on all of these, a remove all button. The auto add feature was a great addition, but the shop is not explained to new players and it's overwhelming to look at. Because when I first got this, I had no idea what I was doing half the time. So I didn't do this. I just let other people do it for me until I could understand what was going on. So that's what they need to do with this, is tooltips. This is to unselect. This is to select. They need to explain this to newer players to make sense. So I believe tooltips is one of the best ways to add it. If not, the old Phasmo list, if you could go back to that, because it was minus, plus, number went down. Explain how many can be in the truck, a faster way to add, and a faster way to buy. So moving to this list with something like the old lists integrated would also be a good way. Don't go purely back to the old list though, because I watch it and it's painful. I never experienced it. If I think it's painful watching it, I wouldn't want to imagine what it's like just clicking down a list to try and add as many as you can and then guessing how many is in it. But the older version might have been improved. I'm looking at the first one based off of videos that I watch. I feel like this list is good, it just needs to be expanded on. But that's my take on all of this. I hope this video helps explain the equipment store better. If you have questions, leave it in the comments down below. I will get back to you as soon as possible and help explain any questions that you have. With that all being said and done, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next chapter. Goodbye for now.